So yeah, this is that continuation of like the explanation of what's going on, but we've really already gotten a lot of these details, except that it's almost like they're trying to make up for we didn't really know about the crash tunnel in the previous issue where guys were popping in. So
They
now
didn't
we're getting the
explain it. Yeah, yeah,
explanation
yeah.
that we should have gotten in issue 2, and it's slowing the story down. So things aren't advancing towards a conclusion because we're over explaining versus like run from action shot to action shot, talk while it's happening so that we can get there.
And let's say, I wouldn't say that Rob Liefeld's books generally are chock full of dialogue and text that you have to read, but
Mhm.
this page is a pretty dialogue heavy page, right? It really
Yeah.
feels like, he knew he had to get all this stuff across. So, you know,
Yeah.
again, the last page and this page, visually at least, pretty much doing the same kind of thing. There's not much difference in between. There's not much advancement. I will say the close up shot of Prophet with the dramatic lighting on his face and
Mhm.
shadows, I
Yeah.
think looks really cool. That's a really cool shot of him there.
Yeah. Both of the shots of the faces look cool. Again, these are shots though where I think you could take up less of the page with them so
Yeah.
that you could advance the story faster. And even that mostly silhouette one, you could go smaller so you could just get more panels in, get more storytelling in because they're using so few panels per page that the story is advancing so slowly, and that's why almost nothing happens in this issue.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
The shield got really small too, all of a sudden on Die
The
Hard there.
shield got tiny, yeah. Which and
If they explained that maybe the shield, grows and retracts depending on the needs and the situation, okay, I'm willing to accept that, right? This
and
is all made up technology anyways.
it kind of must have because it wasn't on his back, and then he reached back and he pulls something, so he probably should have had him pull like a rod, just have him rod coming out and then have a panel of this shield
Or it
forming
kind of
out of the
opens
rod.
up or something.
Yeah.
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 And then as he's going into the battle, maybe have lines showing it expand out. Um, then there's this diehard giving Shaft too much credit of like, oh yeah, once he showed up, he really took charge and he's really a leader. And it's like diehard's an old school warrior. The instructions were you run ahead, you follow behind him, and we're gonna wait here to until the reinforcements of the reinforcements, Vogue and
Yeah.
Photon.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for stating the obvious, Shaft. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
You're
mean,
quite a clever strategist.
yeah, it could have been rewritten of Die Hard going, hey, I'm going to continue. You know, you guys,
I'm
you
on
get
it. I know what
whatever
to do.
here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta keep going. I know what to do. You guys follow as quick as you can. And Shaft could have been like, Bedrock, keep going with him. Follow behind
Yeah.
him. We'll catch up. It's the final panel, which is a cool shot. I do like. I think it's well drawn. But like, oh my gosh, okay, big reveal. He literally just ran off, and oh, right behind him, we find some of the away team. Like split second, they just missed out.
Yeah.
They need a little something to happen in between this reveal so that it doesn't feel like did you not see them coming in the room? We could really kind of congregate, then come up with a better plan here on how to use our forces.
And to me, it should be the inverse in that Shaft and Chapel come upon Sentinel and Vogue, not
Yeah.
them walking into the room there. This doesn't make much sense. Vogue is maybe tending to Sentinel wherever that battle happened last issue. And as Die Hard's going off in one direction, Shaft and Chapel go in another, and discover Sentinel and Vogue trying to help them out, right?
Well, they mess up the storytelling because Prophet tells them, hey, your comrades are in the room where the crash tunnel is. Die Hard and Bedrock run on to where the crash tunnel is, but then Sentinel shows up having apparently got out of that room, hidden somewhere, and Vogue just
Wouldn't he have crossed Die Hard along the way? Like, hey, Die Hard, what are you doing as he runs by?
yeah, something, anything. Maybe they would have passed by him and been like, "Oh, Sentinel, reinforcements are coming.
Yeah.
We're gonna go check this out, though." Yeah.
And some like,
Explanation of Prophet number 3. Uh, Shaft Lear's like, "What are these disciples after?" Prophet. Why? Who is he? Are you kidding me? He just told you, like, you were just talking to the guy 3 seconds ago. Like, I really feel Eric Stevenson failed on this one. He needed to, like, Rob, you brought me on. I convinced you that I can do a better job than the guy you had before. So now, okay, what are they after? Prophet. Oh, okay. Yeah, the super soldier from the future guy. But why? Specifically, why? I don't know. We thought that far ahead, so they just are.
Odd bit of storytelling too, where the shot of Sentinel in the first panel and in the third panel is pretty much the same.
Oh yeah.
This would be a good opportunity to just vary the angle a little bit of that you're showing the character, right? Show him in a profile, show him in a 3/4, just make it a little bit different. It almost feels like he took the same sketch underneath and just redrew it. Also, is this where Rob got the inspiration for Bloodshot's haircut on the back cover? Because Sentinel and Bloodshot pretty much have the same haircut.
Right? Well, Chapel has it too on the cover.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the streaks here on the side, right? Sentinel's got these two kind of hip hop lines on the side here.
So like on the cover, you had Chapel pretty much had that hairdo. And then on the flip side, the back, Bloodshot has that hairdo. And now they run into Sentinel. Sentinel has the hairdo. It's kind of like Rob's overdoing this new flat top that he's got.
Again, I feel like it's like, he saw that somewhere, liked it a lot, and just, he starts to incorporate it in everything and overdo it a little bit, right?
Yeah. It's a frustrating issue. And then with the advancement of Die Hard and Bedrock running forward, this would have been a really good spot. We need more panels because we need to see them going through a hallway, give us some technology, put us in the place. The room that they're running into, there should be combatants scattered all over the floor. There should also be disciples all over the floor from
scientists from last issue, or from issue 2, rather.
Yeah, this should be, they're running into the room, the scientists blast on the floor, like you point out, disciple parts all over the ground. They should see some of the Youngblood members. There should be a lot more of them taking in what's happened before racing off to the crash tunnel.
I feel like that top panel, bottom right, he was trying to throw a little bit of that in there, but I can't tell you what that is. Is that a piece of a disciple's leg or an elbow or something?
Yeah, right? Maybe knees, or maybe those are tech. It's just,
it's very ambiguous, and there's only one little chunk of it. So it's like, I guess, in the second panel, right, there is a bit of continuity there. We do see those.
Yeah.
To me, they look kind of like knees or something, but it's very nondescript. So who knows, right? I think that's what he was going for with that, but there's just not enough of it. And it's not clear enough.
So if there were more panels per page, and they didn't waste so much time in standing around panels and like kept the action moving, they could have been a spot to have a page where they do the thing where they come into the room. Sorry.
Bless you.
3, 2, 1. They could have been a page to come into the room, see the robots, see the guys on the ground, take the whole thing in, describe the horror of the moment, and then do this page exactly how it is, of them rushing into the tunnel and, oh no, what lies beyond. The page itself is not a bad sequence. It's the missing lead up that makes it so disconnected from what we read in issue 2 and got pieces of in issue 3. It just,
seems to be a common thread in this issue of like there's sequences missing visually, right? Instead of doing these huge, splash shots and double page spreads, use those pages to establish these in between kind of sequences, or to at least complete the sequence, whether ahead of time or after, so that things make more sense and things are clear.
Yeah. I mean, we get some decent visuals. They run towards this boom tunnel, so we get this kind of weird wall that they're running towards, and then we get the back shot, and like that's perfectly cool. It's not the art itself of this page that bothers.
That's bad. No, you're right. Yeah.
And then we can kind of get the close up, which all through you can be setting the mood of like, yeah, we've just seen all that chaos, all that destruction about the room. And now what are we going into? We really don't know. Also, again, Photon should be there flying in with them because he's already an alien from other worlds and probably is the most powerful member of this team, if not on par.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, they mentioned earlier that he was with Vogue doing recon. Now all of a sudden Vogue is there, but Photon isn't. So what's Photon taking a bathroom break? Possibly, but we don't know, right?
No idea.
Also, visually, this page where they're going into the tunnel, into the boom, I'm just going to call it for what it is, a boom tube from like the fourth world, Kirby's fourth world. A lot of what Rob's doing here with this aspect of the Youngblood miniseries with Darkthorn and all that is obviously clearly ripped off from the fourth world. But the way he does the speed lines, right, the perspective lines, and then that kind of energy emanation, I feel like this is something he's again discovered somewhere else. Feels kind of Jim Lee-ish to me, more so than Rob. And it's, I mention it now because we see a lot of it on this page, but it's scattered throughout this issue. So once again, it's like something visually that he's kind of latched onto that he really likes, and then he's using, you know, ad nauseum all throughout the issue.
Maybe you got it
from, I don't hate it. I think it works, but
maybe you got it from what Jim Lee does with Void and her power.
Right? Remember there's that splash page of Void and the shards and stuff. It feels very similar to that look there.
Could be. Okay, so I threw this in because I wanted to show how big a difference, since we got Sentinel and Sentinel, like this is how glaringly different issue 2 to issue
much better.
4.
Yeah.
There's Rob inking himself. You get all his hatches, which we still get, but we don't get all these dark, thick, blacked out areas that we're getting with Danny Miki, which Danny Miki's a great inker. I mean, on Spawn, he's amazing. It's just
awesome. Yeah.
He's fantastic working with Greg Capullo. It's taken away what we like about Rob.
Yeah.
And how bright and colorful and playful these pages were versus now they're just so overly moody and dark and it's not fun anymore. And like Rob's art.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's dire and kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Again, I'll just say the atmosphere from the page on the left to the page on the right, completely different. Same characters, same penciler, but just the vibe all of a sudden is just completely different.
Yeah. And for a comic about people who are the MTV superheroes who are going to celebrity parties and they're walking runways and it's like, who are they dating and who's got a cool action figure and who's getting a TV show, which admittedly we didn't see any of that, which is a failure of the series. I mean, okay, issue 3, that was the one where it's like, oh shoot.
They actually touched upon it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's the one where you're doing the thing you said you were going to do. But this on the left, that's a much more fun looking series. It's so colorful and the colors are odd and they are weird, but it's really fun.
Yeah. And more in tune, I think, with the early 90s. You remember early 90s was all about like flashy, bright colors, neon colors, right? We're all wearing those body glove shirts and the varnish and like the fluorescent colors, right? Like so I definitely feel like Brian Murray is much more in tune with that kind of early 90s aesthetic overall than Steve Olive, you know?
Yeah, disappointing. So we're really coming to the end of this story.
Thank God.
Yeah, you run into this undescript room. And again, we've barely seen this bad guy. We really don't know much about him. He's got a henchman. We really don't know much about him either, which is why this conflict needed to be smaller. They needed to just fight the harbingers of the doom and save the real doomsday for later. But also, we don't even reestablish this room. You know, like we only saw them hanging out in their little whatever control room, whatever it was in issue 2. Reestablish that here in issue 3.
You have to, yeah. If this sequence was also in issue 2, then that would be fine. But yeah, we this is 2 issues ago. We've already forgotten. Your books come out really late. You got to reestablish the environment for sure, and make it look different somewhat from the environment we were in before. Do you know what I mean? They've just gone through this boom tube to we're going to assume is, another planet or
Mhm.
another dimension or somewhere far, far away. So make it look different. To me, the backgrounds here look pretty much like the backgrounds we've been seeing in the facility in the prior pages. Also, we've talked about this, I think, when we did the review of issue 2, how Darkthorn is basic. This is the planet Decay. I am Darkthorn. I love how he just explains everything.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy.
Right? Like, Apocalypse, Dark Side, Decay, Darkthorn, clearly, a copy of that, the Fourth World once again. Dark Side has his minion, Desaad, who's got this creepy look and a hood, right? This guy here. I don't know if we ever even get this guy's name, but clearly riffing on that, and that's okay. Remember, like I said, when Rob Liefeld discovers something, he throws that into his work, and pretty obvious here he's doing kind of a Kirby riff. But I was thinking about this, and I may be wrong, but I was like, Rob's doing a copy of Darkseid, right? And he's like, well, okay, I can't call him Darkseid. Obviously, got to come up with a similar name, but different enough, So I'll keep the dark, but side. What can I replace with side? Well, he's a villain, so maybe he's like a thorn in their side. I'm gonna call him Darkthorn, right? I feel like the thought process doesn't really go any further than that.
It is disappointing. Also, if you're gonna have the announcement, have the minion do it. Have the minion be like, you stand before the great Darkthorn of the planet, blah blah. And so then it feels somewhat appropriate if it's the minion going, oh, you guys don't know what you're in for. That would
Yeah. He's almost like what's that word they use? Like the silver star. He's almost like a herald.
Harold.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the hype man.
Yeah.
It wouldn't feel so weird coming from the minion to tell them like, oh, you guys, you done messed up coming here. Now you got to face this guy.
It's like before every Kiss show, there's the guy who's like, you wanted the best, you got the best, the hottest band in the land, Kiss, right? Like that guy. It's almost like a wrestling introduction, right?
Yeah, it's true. So this page also shows it shows again the problem with this comic where there's so many face-off panels. There's so many panels of
posturing. Yeah.
We're getting so many of those when we need things to keep rolling. In fact, they could have almost cut to them going, like trying to go into the boom tube. Like imagine they were running in and like Die Hard flew in, and then you turn the page and it's Die Hard just this shot of Die Hard getting knocked back out. If that was what the sequence was, if it was literally the previous panel of them running in, you see this, and actually change it up a little bit, like just Die Hard goes through the tube and Bedrock's far enough back that he wouldn't get there. And then you jump to this panel here of Die Hard getting knocked out, coming back the other way.
Back through the tube and Badrock like, ooh, on his way, like crossing him. Yeah, that makes better. And that's just more fun. The sequence is way cooler, more fun.
Yeah. And then you could skip out on the other page. You could just have Darkthorn come in, have enough space to mind control Bedrock, then show all the other heroes running into the room, also picking up their companions or whoever was in, they really skip over the fact of all the guys that are on the ground and all the destruction that should be there. So you'd have a little more space to tell that part. He's managed to mind control Bedrock almost immediately. Maybe explain that because he's 13, his mind is so simple that it's easy to control. Something, because otherwise, why didn't he just take over everybody?
He's a kid and he's just more not as much experience and wisdom and stuff, and it's easier to manipulate him. Is what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely.
That top shot of Die Hard, I like the movement of it. I think it's done pretty well.
Yeah.
One funny aspect is that there's blood coming out and he's wearing a full face mask. So there's just been maybe a little bit of an indication that the mask is ripped open or something. That would make a little bit more sense. And I never noticed this before, but I feel like Die Hard's doing a Michael Jackson with his hand on his crotch there. Right? Like I never noticed it before, but I was looking at it today. I'm like, man, there's ways to just move the arm so it's not lining up right with the crotch. It's a little bit funny.
Or have him going, if he did
have a word balloon saying, yeah. Or like, what is it? Is he? Right, the Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah, maybe when Die Hard feels insecure or something, he grabs his crotch. I don't know.
Also, how lazy is that panel 3? I mean, the black shape
Yeah, yeah,
does
yeah.
not fit the helmet that's elsewhere. The color red
Right? Like, yeah.
doesn't fit.
That's a deadline panel if I ever saw one.
Yes. You could,
That took all of 30 seconds to draw.
yeah. And we've seen that kind of shot done before of close up of the
Of
eyes
course. Yeah.
but then it's usually very detailed, making the close up have a purpose.
Well, I think already if you at least had the kind of side elements to
Mhm.
the helmet there, but like you could almost wonder if this is actually Darkthorn, right?
Yeah, doesn't look like him.
It doesn't. It doesn't look like a silhouette, right?
If this were Dark Side, though, I could believe it because his helmet is so simple.
That does look much more like Darkseid. You're right.
Mhm. I do appreciate though the way the portal's done. It's slightly off, like the
It's
circle
fun.
does.
The angle is cool. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
the angle's cool. The effects going off. It's slightly off, but it's pretty good.
Something I don't see Rob Liefeld do a lot is the cast shadow from the characters in the portal. I think that adds to the effect of the panel and works really well as well.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of robot destruction. You kind of get the sense of the people getting up and kind of rejoining the fight. Wish we got more of that.
I have a question with that panel though. So if we start from like right and go left, so you got Prophet, you got Shaft, you got Chapel.
Yeah,
Oh, that's okay. That is Die Hard at the bottom left. Is that
left. Die Hard?
is that who that's supposed to be?
No, I think that's Kirby. It's either Kirby or that'd be Cross.
Well, why all of a sudden is he showing up there?
Well, because people are starting to show back up.
But dude, that nothing's happened yet. Does that happen on the next page or something? Or
Yeah, this is the only reference of kind of showing the guys starting to get up and starting to rejoin the battle. We'll see a couple other people. It's just not well done. So
yeah, because it's like all of a sudden in a small faraway shot, one of these characters that we haven't seen since issue 2 shows up. It's kind of weird.
yeah, right. So that's probably Cross over in the lower left corner here. And then
Yeah.
over here is I think Battle Axe, was that her name?
Okay.
The
Yeah.
woman with the big axe. So I think so she's suddenly rejoining the fight.
I didn't even notice there was a character there. That almost looked like rubble to me, right? Because of the colors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we do have a couple of the not Sentinel, Disciple robots on the ground, although more destruction if it was just more broken up. So you could do the same amount of drawing, but just show pieces, which would give
Yeah.
more of a feeling of destruction.
At least they're in there though.
Yeah. It's almost like it's trying to get the story like, oh shoot.
Let's use this panel to establish all these things I didn't before. Yeah, exactly.
I kind of wasted so much space on so many pose shots and introduced Prophet 3 times to character after character and spent so much time showing Sentinel fighting, but really kind of forgot that there's 5 other people on the team that I should be getting around to. Oh, well, let me finally tell a little bit of story here. It's just, it's very frustrating. It feels like him and Eric should have been sitting down ahead of time, talk about what would happen in the issue, let Eric try to push, like, okay, but you need to get these details in, maybe spend less time on that, do a little more of this, and let's wrap this thing up because we're already 1 issue over what we said it was going to be. But it doesn't feel like that happened.
Well, yeah, those Berserker characters just showing up all of a sudden. It's just
Yeah. Well,
there's no, if you're not really paying attention and just reading, you almost would miss it, right?
yeah, because they were in issue 2, and then in issue 3, we did get to see that they were on the ground. Like
They're out of commission.
issue
Yeah.
3, everyone had already been knocked out except for Prophet, so we didn't get to see that battle. That the issue 3 was the we didn't get to see it issue. We're like, we didn't get to see him fight the 4. That's been handled already. We didn't see the showdown of the away team and the Berserkers versus the Disciples. That's already in the late stages. Only Prophet's left. They're all down.
Well, and how formidable of a foe are the Disciples if all they really succeed in doing is knocking people out, and that once they've knocked people out, they're satisfied with that, and they move on. You know what I mean? Like if you're really trying to get rid of something you perceive as a threat, you're going to kill them, right? But basically, all the members of the Youngblood away team and the Berserkers were knocked out, and
Yeah.
that's it, except for Prophet, right? So no one was killed, no one was really injured seriously. Sentinel's, he's got the bloody eye, but that's about it. And now they're back to fight again.
Yeah.
The Disciples really weren't that successful in getting rid of that threat.
Also, their power level is so illogical because issue 2, we've got the setup of getting the away teams there, the Berserkers are there. That's 11 people. We got Prophet, we got Kirby. That's 13 different warriors. Fight. Next issue, we don't see any of that. 12 people are already down.
Down for the count. Yeah.
Yeah. And only he alone is still fighting the Disciples, but he doesn't have that computer system thing that should be the reason that he's still prevailing. And he alone is battling Disciples. Then the home team shows up, and only part of the home team, and kind of some of the weak sauce of the home team. And yet they take down the Disciples no problem and catch up to the away team who's finally getting off the floor, and the Berserkers. Like, so how did the B team show up, who's got a lot of weaker members, come in and wipe out all these Disciples, where the away team plus the Berserkers and Prophet and Kirby failed? It does.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense, Rob. You got all these powerful characters on one team and a weaker group over here. Plus, they have.
But they're more effective. Yeah, the weaker characters are more effective for some reason.
Yeah, it does. It's
probably because Rob just prefers drawing them. I think that's probably as much thought as he puts into it.
But also, again, since he mentioned Stormwatch, if Stormwatch was here, and so Youngblood and Stormwatch shows up, and together they make their way to the team, and then the teams, they're in time to like help defend the team, and the teams come together, and now it's, oh wow, we've got Stormwatch, Youngblood, away team and home team, Berserkers plus Prophet, and now we've got a force. We're gonna win.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
I'll just mention real quick too on the left here.
Yeah.
We get some of the first ads that we'd see about Youngblood Strike File, Jay Lee. I'm sure this illustration here looks quite cool, very Simon Bisley-esque, I guess I would say. Probably took Jay Lee all of 20 minutes to do this one.
It is a low detail for sure. It is kind of neat. Cool. Yeah, it's neat that there is a skull face into the knife.
Yeah.
That's a nice touch, getting the skull in there, but just putting it into the knife. It's kind of a cool effect. And yeah, it is a low detail drawing, and that you're not seeing a lot, but it does moodily have an effect. And that is a thing that Jay Lee becomes very well known for, of like what, where he likes to sparsely show something really nice and then leave a lot of space for that to exist. And again, this page here is another page where it's like the page itself isn't the problem. It's just the lack of storytelling that's led up to it. Like the way the portal's done. And in fact, the colors for this one's pretty good. I kind of like these.
Well, because we're getting, at least with the background, I find we're getting some of those kind of brighter, more saturated colors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would almost forget that it's not Brian Murray for a second.
Yeah.
The way that Stone comes into the shot, if he had been better established beforehand via some storytelling, it's a cool shot of him in there. It manages to get a lot of characters into a narrow space. Kirby's back into the thing. You've got Chapel, you've got Shaft. Now we're getting the silhouette of the bad guy, which would be more effective if we hadn't already seen him. It's not much of a reveal if we saw him 2 pages ago.
Then here's the thing too, is, Kirby and what's the big guy's name?
Stone.
Of course. Kirby and Stone, kind of sneaking up on Chapel and Shaft here. Because really, if you're following the visual storytelling, Shaft and Chapel don't know that these guys are there, and they don't know these guys. So all of a sudden, Stone standing right behind Shaft. Shaft, you think he turned out like, hey, like, what the fuck are you?
Yeah.
Who are you? Right?
Shoot, I thought they were Bedrock for a second.
Or even turning around and like shooting with a few arrows or something, just because he's like, I don't know who you are. The home team knows nothing really about the Berserkers other than maybe Prophet mentioning them real quick, right?
Yeah.
So who are these guys?
So instead of having 3 introductions to Prophet, you could have the home team meet Prophet. The home team could maybe meet the Berserkers, who maybe got back up and started resisting again, and then get to the room and rejoin the away team and have the
Yeah.
build up.
Absolutely, it makes sense. And like we said earlier, if you know, instead of Vogue and Sentinel kind of coming upon the Youngblood home team members, what if, you know, they walked into the room where the battle happened, and then you can reintroduce Sentinel with Vogue. Maybe Vogue discovered that room first or whatever, and then you introduce the Berserkers because they're there as well, right? They're in that room. Yeah, a lot of missed opportunities on this one.
Yeah, so
And then
much.
to do a full double page splash for this shot is very gratuitous.
Yeah, it's another one where you just don't need to take up this much space for it. Half a page would have been fine. Then you could get some more storytelling in. The rendering on this is not exciting enough or detailed enough to justify wasting 2 pages with it.
No, this should have been like, you know, a wide horizontal panel at the top of one page or something.
Yeah. And then get
It's
into the
unfortunate.
battle. I mean, you wasted a page and a half of the 10 pages that you need to finish this story just here. You definitely could have scraped
And
together.
it's him repeating a thing again too, where, you know, at the end of issue 2, you know, the Berserkers show up, you expect a huge battle, right? And you don't get it because that's where the issue ends. And of course, we know with the Berserkers, we didn't actually get to see the battle. We saw like the end of it with Prophet kind of squaring off against the disciples. So it's almost, when I got here, I was expecting the same kind of thing, right? First of all, again, I said this issue was a huge disappointment as a kid. Getting to the end of this issue and realizing the story doesn't end.
Yeah.
It stops right at the conflict that really is built up to be the coolest and most fun, hopefully, or most engaging. And then on top of all of that, to be concluded in Brigade number 4, see this issue's letter page for details. Oh,
Yeah.
great. So I got to read more about my disappointment later on in the letters page. And now I got to listen again. I was already collecting Brigade, so I was going to buy it. But it's like, man, I really just was not liking it. And this was kind of the beginning of me with Image Comics starting to be a little bit more selective about what I bought. I mentioned that by this point, I was probably buying pretty much everything that was coming out. After Brigade number 4, and I remember getting like, what's the other series? Rub the Blood.
Bloodstrike.
Bloodstrike, thank you. So I Bloodstrike, I got issue 1 and 2, I think. And then I was like, man, I don't enjoy this extreme stuff. And some of the first stuff I started dropping off on was the extreme books. And I stopped collecting.
Yeah, just for the funsies. So that was that big update you were supposed to get of like, hey, you know, the miniseries might be over, but not really. 10-page conclusion coming, which honestly, with better storytelling, you could have gotten that into this issue without drawing any more pages. You just needed to actually effectively tell a story with more panels and less money shots and fruitless, useless ones. But hey, before we can get around to finishing this story, we got a new Youngblood comic, guys. Do you even really care about the conclusion of this? We got something new. Don't get worried about
We're already moving on. Moving on to the
next. This doesn't. Listen, kids. This is
of no consequence at all. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Listen, you know, there's no reason to get invested in this because we got this new, cooler, bigger, better thing. We got Rob Liefeld inked by George Perez. You think this other guy's pretty good? Nah, we got George Perez.
Which I would have been really interested in seeing, but as we know, that actually didn't work out, right? Danny Miki did end up inking Youngblood Strike File, or inking Rob.
Youngblood Strike Files looks a whole lot like this comic. The credits are it's Danny Miki, and it's Steve Oliff, and it's Kirk Hathaway, and it's Eric Stevenson. It's the same people. Well, those same people should have put the work into finishing this story rather than passing the buck off to somebody else. Just go ahead and finish this, Rob and crew.
Yeah.
Why are you jumping ship to the new thing when you have?
Because we gotta print up a new number 1.
True.
I think that a lot of the reasoning back then at that point, you know, guys like Larson and McFarlane were betting more on consistency, I feel like. And Rob and Jim were the guys who were like, no, let's put out a new series, new number 1s. Let's, like, they were really, you know, milking that whole comic book bubble as much as they could. Yeah. Which I can understand from a business point of view. I get it. But that's also why their books are less fondly remembered, I think, than, you know, Spawn and Tom McFarlane, at least until he was not on the title anymore. And then Eric Larson, who clearly has proven himself to be the most consistent of all the Image founding fathers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I listen. I would have liked to have seen George Perez ink Rob Liefeld. That sounds interesting to me, but yeah, never happened.
Yeah.
Never happened.
No, George Perez would be incredible. I think almost more. You should have George Perez do the layouts for you.
Yeah.
And then you get to work inking.
Maybe even like, Rob Liefeld inking George Perez could be interesting as well.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's funny that you looked at something from the letters page, because usually we don't cover it, but there's also a thing I wanted to talk about. So I've got the book open in front of me, and I just read this one letter because I saw there were a lot of questions, right? So I was like, oh, here's a guy who's like wondering what the hell's going on in this book, right? So he was, he's asking very obvious questions. So he's like, I just picked up a copy of Youngblood 3, superb, genius, fantastic. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
By far your best work ever. The cover kicked all the others' butts. Again, don't know about that. No. Shaft is my favorite. I like his leadership qualities, which we really haven't seen any of. Yeah. And not to mention his girlfriend, who we saw for about 3 panels in issue 1.
Yeah.
Die Hard seems very mysterious. It seems? Yeah, I would say he is.
Yeah.
Exactly. He just is. I guess not many people know about him, right? I've got a few questions for you to answer. So this guy's been reading the issues 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Who are the disciples? Like we did find out in issue 2 and 3 a little bit about them. Like we do know, right? The context. Yeah. And the answer is funny too. The disciples are the androids Prophet and Youngblood have been battling during the last few issues. Oh, thanks. But what about their backstory, right? I feel like that's what the question was going for.
Okay, so we got a Captain Obvious question, answer with a Captain Obvious answer.
It's hilarious. I was laughing so hard.
These issues, but like, could you tell us more about these disciples so I know why I should care?
Yeah, no, basically,
because we didn't write that far.
We're going to tell you what you've already retained from your first reading of those first few issues. Question 2. Who is this Prophet character and why isn't he on the team roster? Well, because not every character is going to be on the team, first of all. So they do give us a bit more on this one. Okay. Created during World War II by scientist Horatio Garnet Wells. Prophet was originally intended to be awakened to combat Darkthorn's disciples of Doom in the future. In Youngblood 2, however, Cougar inadvertently caused Prophet to be awakened early.
All information we got in issue 2.
Yeah, which is pretty clear. It's not, so they ambiguous or anything.
Hey, buddy, you've been collecting. Go back and check your issue 2. It's in there. We don't want to spoil it for you.
This next question, though, I think is actually a good one. Who is this funky broad trying to save the 4? Right, the one with the face mask, right?
It's a good question.
The funky broad was Showdown, and you'll be seeing more of her in the future. So this is the first time we ever get her name. So we never got it in the comic, and you'll be seeing more of her in the future. I don't think we ever did. No, I don't think she ever came back.
We never saw more of her. The name was probably given in the issue. It was probably mentioned real quick. But what we don't know is really we don't know a who beyond a name. What, we kind of know where.
Yeah.
Kind of know when. I guess we sort of know why. Like, but it's just like the 4 just some enemies. What's their purpose? What do they do? What kind of criminals are they? Are they robbing banks? Are they breaking into government facilities for information? Are they world terrorists? They're the 4.
Who's the person? Yeah, and they never really came back later on. Like, who came in? I always think Rob's more interested in introducing new, cool-looking characters, but not actually developing them and working on them and creating a backstory. He just likes the visual of it. Question 4: Is Bloodstrike getting their own series? Well, you have to assume so because there's like a Bloodstrike pinup in the last issue of Youngblood.
Okay.
So I'm going to assume that that's probably what Rob Liefeld's building towards. The first issue of Bloodstrike is due out in April. Check it out.
You know what?
And then, go ahead.
Quick one. What would have been a better introduction of Bloodstrike instead of the kind of issue we got would be one of the Youngblood members dying during this conflict and then being introduced as the new guy on Bloodstrike, like waking up to the thing and like I thought I died, and then like yeah,
And now we have the newbie's door into the Blood Strike world, right?
yeah,
The character who knows nothing about that world and is being introduced to it. Yeah,
yeah,
100%. That would be a lot more effective.
yeah.
Yeah, so I just thought some of these questions were just really hilarious.
Yeah, sad that they need to be asked this far in, and also sad that they don't get a real answer beyond just stating the stuff we already knew. Well, we're asking because that's
The
not enough information.
very surface level stuff that's obvious already. Yeah, I just when I read that bit, I was like, that's hilarious. Oh, and someone also mentions about I saw Shaft somewhere back in X Force #4.
Oh,
Remember that? There's a character at the end of X Force #4. He's with GW Bridge, and his costume design is very similar to Shaft. So
oh.
I don't know. Yeah, yeah. It's just a and he what is the answer here? He just answers no.
But he does look similar, right?
Very similar. Yeah. And
We're been told not to say yes.
yeah, exactly. For legal purposes, that was not Shaft. Yeah. There you go. Did you get the pit preview in there? Or
Heck yeah, we did. Because
Oh,
beyond the intrigue of the Youngblood Bloodshot crossover that then morphed into Deathmate, this pit preview is the only real reason to buy this comic. If you run
it's the
across
best part of the book.
4
Yeah.
in a dollar bin, absolutely grab it because the pit preview, gorgeous. It's awesome. It's
Beautiful.
also different looking than how Pit looks when you see Pit #1. I mean, like the way the art's done. This is a little more
Yeah, the aesthetic is a little bit different, and even the layouts and stuff, it does look quite different. And I like Pit, like the regular series, but I
Yeah.
almost kind of prefer this and the look of this. There's something about it where it just feels a little bit rougher, a little bit kind of more sci-fi, I guess. I don't know what it is. There's something I really like about the look of this preview here. Very cool.
Let's see. Writer artist. Okay. So he's writer art. No, they had a colorist. Yeah. Joe Judo, letter Chance Wolf. Yeah. Okay. And are those the Homage Studio guys?
Well, Joe Scioto, I know, did a lot of the coloring for Jim Lee and Mark Silvestri.
That Cyber. Oh yeah. He was doing Cyber Force and he was doing Wildcats, wasn't he?
Pretty sure he's doing Wildcats. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I know he colored a lot of Homage books for sure.
Ooh. Follow-up question. Chance Wolf, because Chance Wolf does the logo for Pit and also does the logo for the Max.
Yeah.
So did he? And no, he does not do the lettering. Okay.
No, some of these people, like I said, editor Sasha Lemlin is that Dale Keown's girlfriend at the time or something? Because
Oh,
her name never. Well, because it's a common thing, right? Because like Eric Larson had his wife's name as editor for a while. Todd McFarlane did it too. Even Jim Valentino, I think. But so that's why I assume this is like someone's partner or girlfriend or something. And letterer Ron Kasman, never heard that name before, so I don't know. And co-writer Brian Houghton, who was there early on, I think, for maybe the first few issues of Pit. So I know for sure I read that somewhere that's just Dale Keown, one of Dale Keown's buddies. This is Dale Keown's Brandon Choi. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Dale Keown's Hank Canals. But yeah, there's a quality to the art here. He's coming off of Incredible Hulk, and it almost feels like he's going a little grittier with the inks or something. But yeah, just I love the aesthetic of this Pit preview and storytelling wise too, man. Like,
yes,
there's a lot of panels on each page, surprising for an image book.
Yeah,
there's some great storytelling going on.
Yeah,
we got 9 panels on average on some of these pages. Really cool.
Yeah, we get a very good preview. We've got a spaceship in space. Pitt's a prisoner. They're going like you've got like a leader with some guards around him, and then like a minion guy who's leading him to the cell. They get to the cell, they open it up. The guard guy is clearly upset. Oh no. Think this is not going to be my day. He's gone. Pitt was obviously chained up, which we could tell whatever Pitt was chained up via these chains, and he's out. It's impossible. Oh no. And then this guy, clearly this minion guy, is like, well, there's no choice.
I know what's coming. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got to take himself out. And then we jump to the image standard, a whole bunch of white thugs roaming the city. Everywhere you go in the image world, there are white thugs just causing havoc, trying to be a menace, and they are getting murderized by every hero they come across.
What would be hilarious is that it's revealed that it's always the same gang, you know, and they're so unlucky, always coming upon like these, you know, new image superheroes kicking the shit out of them, you know.
If they always flashed away to an ethnic gang who's hanging back going, yeah, what did they think was going to happen?
Exactly.
That's why, you know, I see sharks, I don't go in the water. Why we would go and mess with, the guy had a cape and chains, like this dumb mother, you know?
Yeah, he swooped in from the top of a building. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like he just jumped from the top of a building down here, and somehow we think we can take on this guy? Like, exactly.
This is why we don't let them in our gang. These guys are idiots.
And then, yeah, on the next page, when we get the Pitt reveal, it's like, just like Spawn, this 7'4" bodybuilder guy.
Yeah.
You know,
gigantic monster, and again, a motorcycle, white motorcycle gang, and they're just like, yeah, let's go get him with our chain.
That's just a regular shaped man who's naked in the subway. I would not approach. This guy there's something not right with this guy, clearly. So,
yeah,
you know, who knows? Who knows what he's hiding in his cavity?
Yeah. If it was just a gigantic bodybuilder walking the street naked, you wouldn't be like, yeah, I'm going to go mess with him.
Exactly.
A, huge. B, something clearly ain't right, and I don't need to know why.
A clear sign that you should stay away from someone is that they're naked in public. It's just, you don't approach that.
Yeah. If you haven't agreed to be naked together, random nakedness.
It's like those videos. I don't know if you've seen these videos of guys, like they just walk up to a random stranger and like shove them or push them or something. The guy's like, "What's your problem, man?" It's like, "Oh, you want to go? You want to go?" And then they've got breakaway pants, and they just pull the breakaway pants away and take their shirt off, and they're just wearing like little G-string underwear. And the other guy's like, "Oh no," he just runs off. Right? He's like, "I'm not messing with this guy. Wants to fight me in his G-string," you know.
Okay, I thought they were going to go more like Party Boy direction.
It's kind of similar to Party Boy. They still want to fight, but the other guy, all of a sudden, once he sees them in the G-string, is like, they literally run off. They're like, no. This guy's messing.
Like, what do you want, man? And he pulled away the pants, and that's it. And it was like,
yeah. Well, Party Boy pretty much does that, right? Great jackass moment.
Yeah, jackass. So they cut from the Sabaku moment, the white gang thugs. It's in all the image books, messing with a woman. You've got the grandfather and grandson, Timmy. I'm assuming by the age difference, it's been a while. Timmy's got his hockey stick, and the grandfather's trying to like, oh no, you know, I got to step in because there's no one else here to defend this woman. And the gang is getting so violent, and the old guy rushes in, but he gets hit. And so Timmy, being this brave little lad who's maybe watched the Ninja Turtles a few too many times, jumps in with his Casey Jones hockey stick and takes a swing. And then these brutal thugs are such jerks, they're gonna rough up a kid. Instead of them being like, oh, he got you, and like, all right, that was a pretty good one, little kid. Might want to watch yourself, but you got it. You know, you'd think maybe even the thugs have a little humanity, but nah, they're just gonna knife the kid. Just so that you know they're purely bad guys. No sympathy. And then an amazing teleportation shot. I mean, it's so rough, it's weird.
It's great. It's different. You know what I mean? He's using kind of a similar thing to the Kirby Crackle, but he's making it his own. Like it's quite different. You know, there's just something very dramatic in the energy kind of being, you know, spouted around him and stuff. and the dramatic lighting and the shading at the top, like the up lighting, feels a little bit inspired by Terminator to me,
Oh,
right? That shot
really?
of Pitt naked on the ground there is very similar to when the T-1000 shows up, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's, I mean, it's
It's
that shot specifically is straight
it's
up Terminator.
yeah. Yeah, Jim Lee's ripping off T2. He's ripping off T1. It's
Oh, well, listen, man, even Cable is somewhat inspired. It's almost like,
yeah,
Rob took Reese and the Terminator and kind of
yeah.
put them together. That's kind of what
Yeah.
Cable is, right? Yeah.
It's still more interesting though.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then immediately claws start coming out. Thugs react. Holy blah. He just kind of beamed in like, which I feel like should have dot 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 since he doesn't really complete the sentence.
Yeah.
He looks tough, Tony.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There's not,
Yeah. And also, he just teleported in.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he didn't just, the subway didn't stop at a stop and this big naked guy walked in. He just phased in all of a sudden. Like, what is going on here? I don't think we want to, uh, uh, tussle with this guy at all.
They need to reveal in the Image universe that all this one white gang with this giant affiliation that goes across every state, every city,
Every major city.
they got members everywhere trying to mess people up. It also is on a very significant drug that keeps them hyped up, violent, and completely oblivious to reality to the point that they think they can take on anybody. Like, and that's a real thing.
Yeah. That drug exists. That's called meth. So they're probably on meth.
Yeah, there was
we should assume they're on meth.
Well, I remember reading about this. This was about recruitment of soldiers in the Middle East. And one of the things they would do is you get a whole bunch of people that are disenfranchised, they got nothing to do, and they don't have very much a way to survive. And then you go, you know what? I got a job for you. You're just going to guard over here. Here's a weapon. Oh, that's cool. I got a weapon now.
A little bit of power.
Here's food. Oh, cool. I needed to eat. Also, here's this cool drug thing. You just chew on this all day. And yeah. I forget the name, but there's a drug and something you kind of chew on. It's a stimulant, but it also makes you maybe a little overzealous to run.
Very strong. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this gang just needs to be hopped up on something where they just, no matter how obvious the sign that this is a bad move is, they're just like, yeah, we could take them.
Yeah, I mean that whole idea of like meth, like I was saying, it's the Nazis when they took over Poland and then when they took France, they were all on this drug called Pervitin, right? Which is basically methamphetamine. So everyone was like, how could the Nazis so successfully, take over Poland, take over France? They didn't have to sleep. That was the whole reason. They could stay up for 2-3 days straight on this drug and just keep moving forward with the blitzkrieg, right?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What a crash they must have hit after victory, though.
Oh, it's dude. How important meth was to the early success of the Nazi conquest. It's not talked about a lot about, but it's definitely a big part. I remember seeing this video where they were talking about this soldier who was a Nazi soldier who was writing letters back home, right? So the first letter, he's like, yeah, we're on the front, everything's going great, blah, 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 we're winning, blah, blah, blah. Say hi to dad for me, whatever. Next letter, it's like, okay, we're advancing, it's still going great, I've run out of Pervitin. Could you guys send me some? And every subsequent letter, there's less and less talk about how the war's going and more talk about, hey, send some Pervitin. And like by the time the last letter shows up, it's like, we are jonesing for some Pervitin. Like that's all he's talking about in his letter. It's really, I don't want to say funny, but sad to see the progression, right?
I mean, it is funny, but
it's somewhat funny. Yeah.
No, you should get writing on that book. That's a history book of just how important meth was to the Nazis.
It's crazy. It's once you start to realize, wow, okay.
I definitely feel like after the holy blank, he just kind of beamed in like ... He looks tough, Tony. And the next one should be like, yeah, no blank, dude. We should get out of here.
Next stop, like he's pulling the thing, for the next stop. It's like ding, 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 ding. You just have like the word ding, 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 ding. Like yeah. That would make much more sense.
If they had one panel where because you do have one gang member in the back who's kind of like, and if you had one other gang member who was kind of doing that like backing up thing,
Yeah.
where he's just like,
Listen,
I'm
the
gonna just.
but also the huge naked muscular guy just grew claws right in front of you, right? His nails just became 6-inch long claws. What are you thinking? Also, just a weird random detail, but the guy has no nose.
Yeah.
You know, there's no reason to confront this man.
No. If a lion just teleported into the car, are you be like, yo,
that's pretty much what's happening here. Yeah,
are we about to take a lion? I think we are. No, you'd be like, you jumping back,
jump out the window. Yeah, absolutely. The sunroof, whatever. Yeah, you got to get out of there.
Take the impact of whatever you're going to crash into over being ripped to pieces by the lion.
I'm sure your instincts would take over, and you would, no matter what speed that car's going at, you would jump out at the first chance,
or stand in. It'd be over. Probably the two things. Yeah. It's wild. Yeah, I don't care how tough he looks. We can take him. No, you can't. White gang after white gang has learned this is incorrect. They couldn't take Spawn. They tried to take Imp, but Void showed up.
And I mean, this is Pitt's first appearance, but then right away in issue 1, there's another chapter of this white gang that tries to take on Pitt once again.
Yeah.
Doesn't go well for them.
Right. It'd be great if there was a connection of like, hey, Bravo gang went down, what's going on? And then, of course, they ran into him getting off the subway and like, oh, this is the guy that took our boys. Where's that line? We got to get revenge for the gang.
And that sequence in Pit 1 also very reminiscent of Terminator, where he's naked, takes on the gang, takes their clothes, and takes one of their motorcycles.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
100%. It is.
All right.
Cool sequence.
Yeah.
Very cool side views.
And I like each and every one of the shots of Pitt is different, and he's doing a different motion, and his muscles are in a different, like, all of that is just really cool. Really well done.
It's also doing the subway passing through stuff. So you've got a bright shot with lighting, and then it's like it passed through a quick tunnel, so it goes silhouette, and then it's out of the tunnel, and now it's detailed again, and then it's
very cool.
It's good. This is the best storytelling we've seen in this issue of Youngblood.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
The shot there of him going like, ah, I feel like because he's naked, it's weirder.
He's almost like getting off.
This is definitely like, wait a minute, what's that?
And you know what? I noticed on these prior pages, but on this one specifically, the lettering for the sound effects is quite different from what we usually get from image books and stuff. It almost feels like Gail Keown is doing them himself, like they're part of the art or something.
Drawn in rather than added. Yeah. Absolutely.
And I kind of like it. It gives it a more kind of outlaw kind of, like this whole issue, this whole preview, the way it's laid out differently, the sound effects and stuff, all give it kind of that outlaw kind of vibe, more so than when we get to the Pitt regular series, which still has a bit of that, but feels a little more in line with the image kind of aesthetic overall. But really like this. The thing with story-wise that kind of bothers me about this is that, you know, when we get to Pitt issue 1 in the regular series, Pitt spends many issues looking for Timmy.
Yeah, but he found...
But Timmy's right here in the preview. So what happened there? I guess they realized right away that, oh, man, that, you know, I don't know. It's a huge kind of plot hole, I find. I mean, it doesn't still enjoy the Pitt regular series here, but this seems a little bit contradictory in the sense that, like, why is Pitt looking for Timmy over the course of 3 or 4 issues in the regular series when right away in the preview he found him? He's right here. Maybe he doesn't know that he's looking for Timmy yet. I'm not quite sure, but it seems a little odd.
Yeah, you definitely needed it to be a different little boy with like his mom or something.
Yeah.
or have the whole, yeah, you gotta have him find out a little later, like,
I
oh,
feel I feel like, you know, they bring the grandpa and Timmy in this preview
mm,
because they're like they feel like they have to introduce them because
mhm,
they're major characters that are going to
yeah,
be relevant to the plot line. But I feel that for this preview, if they hadn't done that and you just had, you know, maybe a couple on the subway
mhm,
or anyone else
yeah,
really being attacked by these guys,
yeah,
you'd still have the same effect of Pitt's like this monster who can take on a bunch of, you know, gang members, and that he's altruistic in the sense that he knows, you know, he's helping out these people being attacked on the subway. But you
yeah,
wouldn't have this weird plot hole of him having met Timmy right away and then later on looking for him when he already kind of found him.
yeah. It's
That
weird.
panel too is kind of funny. It's well drawn and everything, but that
Yeah,
panel of the back of Timmy's head and just that leg of Pitt kind of
yeah,
coming out at the top of the subway,
yeah.
just kind of slightly kind of funny to me, cartoony, I guess.
It is funny, and it's a fun sequence. I mean, he has the scene and going like, ah, and then he does smash the guys together, and then you do see them react a bit of, oh, my head. Although I feel like maybe they should have been more, knocked out, and then
Or mangled. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, and you see a gang member run off, like, okay, forget this, I'm getting out of here. Like, I
Because
needed,
in my mind, if Pitt grabs two guys, you know, kind of thrusts them up and hits their head on the top of the subway, there's probably not much head left,
no,
right? He's
yeah,
super strong, obviously. He's like a
yeah,
Hulk level kind of guy.
yeah, it would have been a more explosive sequence. It would have made more sense if it had been the smash here, and the next panel he's just holding wreckage.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just two torsos with no head, and blood and
Yeah.
guts and stuff.
And then the guy that's running out shouldn't be one of those guys. It should be a different gang member who's like, No, I don't know what we were
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah. He
Yeah,
hasn't gotten involved yet, and he's like, yeah, and I'm not gonna, and just
yeah,
runs out.
yeah. And should have been jumping out a window, not managing to get out on a stop. Would have been great. Pitt handing him what's left of his hockey stick back. And then I like the leap through the top, other than the fact it's like, how big is this opening? Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's kind of yeah, that's kind of it. It's like the proportion of the hole that Pitt's jumping through is,
yeah,
you know, maybe he could get, you know, his legs through, but the upper body, I don't feel like that would work at all.
it would
But
be
again,
fun
it
if,
adds to the cartooniness of it.
yeah, well, if he leapt through it, like, oh yeah, that's the opening, but ended up smashing the opening so
Like the
that,
Kool-Aid guy. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
it
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
breaks it
You just
more.
have like a pit shaped opening at the top of the
Yeah,
subway.
absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, the aesthetic of this preview, it's so much rougher and indie. It's very cool. The book, while the art, I mean, the Dale Keown art in issue 1 is fantastic, but it is
Oh,
far sleeker than
yeah.
what we get here. Although I do appreciate that the art in this preview is on that on the glossy paper that they sent
Yes. Yeah,
over,
yeah, yeah.
but issue 1 of Pitt is not. It's on newsprint, thick newsprint, but newsprint. So
And also, it's known that the first issue of print of Pitt rather printed a bit dark, right? It's I don't hate it. I think
uh,
it's kind of cool, but things do tend to clear up by issue 2, right? Just contrast wise, where I feel like this preview here has the first issue Pitt is maybe too dark, and then the second issue to me kind of goes maybe a little too bright for Pitt, where this preview here is right in that sweet spot, right in the middle, where I think there's just the contrast overall is really good. The gritty inking and art is just amazing. And I love this last sequence of Pitt like climbing the building with his claws and, you know, rubble breaking off as he's climbing up. I think that looks really cool.
yeah, it's fantastic image overall. And then I threw in, obviously, this is the ad that was coming up for Field of Blood
Yeah.
Strike. And I mentioned before, I think the Blood Strike could have been better introduced by having a young blood member perish in this whole battle, be introduced, because it really makes sort of sense that there's a sequence of, you got the pretty home team that's there for public relations. You should have the more powerful, dangerous away team that goes and takes care of stuff that you
A
probably
little more
want
dramatic.
out.
little more covert.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you want out of the public eye.
Special forces kind of young blood.
Yeah. And then when you go down, when you die, they resurrect you over here on Blood Strike, where now you need their procedures to stay in existence. And now you're on the even darker missions.
Oh yeah, yeah. Blood Strike doesn't even appear on official paperwork, right? They're like
Right.
they're in the black book.
Very much so. The only other thing I was trying to get is I wanted to see what the timeline was of Pitt coming out, number one, compared to this Rob Liefeld Youngblood 4. It came out February 93, and Pitt number one, oh, yeah, that might be why. Pitt number one comes out, sorry, I'm having to scroll through a thing. January 93, Pitt number one. So this preview comes out the next month.
It does, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you had Pitt number one, and then a month later you get to read the preview,
You got to backtrack. Yeah.
which literally the preview leads right into issue number one, which is a nice sequence. You get this, he escaped, he appears on this subway, fights some thugs, and he goes out into the city. And then the next sequence is a biker gang rolling up on this giant naked.
More thugs. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely feel like all of that happened because of Rob Liefeld. I feel like Dale Keown, if Pitt number one is published a month before this issue, that means that this preview was drawn way before issue one, right? So
Yeah.
the whole lateness problem with this issue is definitely down to Rob Liefeld and not to Dale Keown. But it's unfortunate that a lot of, like, there's two instances I can think of that, right? Where Pitt number one comes out before this preview in Youngblood number 4,
Right.
and then the Max number one comes out before Darker Image number one.
Right. And then there's a third because Youngblood number 5 has to be in Brigade number 4 to complete the series, but then it gets held up. Brigade number 4 ends up coming out after the new series issue 1 and 2. So Brigade's second series, issue 1 and 2, come out.
You're right. The regular series started coming out before that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's just horrible deadline issues. Pretty much the Pitt preview needed to come out in, unfortunately, Wildcats number 4 was already used up or something. Like, it needed to come out in Wildcats, or it should have came out in Cyberforce if it could have. Like, maybe Cyberforce issue 2 would have been fantastic, especially since Pitt kind of shows up in that one in issue 3, or maybe have shown up in Shadowhawk with this kind of more gritty, indie.
Yeah, it's definitely more in line with the setting of Shadowhawk and stuff.
Yeah. It would have been a good backup for Shadowhawk for sure. So many deadline issues, kids. If you're reading comics now, well, of course, you're probably reading manga books. So, giant manga books come out. We were dealing with very frustrating timelines back in the day as Image fans.
Yeah, and as kids, right, like 7 months to wait for an issue, that's an eternity when you're 12, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, some other comic you're reading, you've actually gotten 7 issues in that same time frame, and half a year is advanced in that comic, and you finally get the next issue of this other one.
Just wondering, 22. Okay, I thought maybe Rob had taken advantage of the fact that there were 9 Pitt pages to do less pages for Youngblood, but there's actually 23 pages of Youngblood story here.
You think in 23 pages you could have the home team show up, meet up with the rest of the team, battle the bad guy, and finish it out.
Yeah, because I mean the bit in Brigade number 4 is 10 pages, so cut down on the double page splashes and on the actual splashes in this book, and yeah, you can probably get it done in this issue.
Yeah, I mean, what did we get from Pitt? Pitt gave us 9 pages.
9 pages.
9 pages. So they were in space. A guy shows up with a couple of hinges to get Pitt. A minion takes him to the cell, opens the cell. Oh no, finds out Pitt escaped somehow. Offs himself. We cut to a subway on Earth. Pitt, the gang is messing with a woman. Old guy and his son jump in, try to help. They're about to get trashed. Pitt teleports in, fights gang, hands Timmy back his hockey stick, and then jumps out. And he did all that in 9 pages. And in 23 pages, Rob has team arrives, team meets up, team gets
Fights some
face off against
disciples.
the bad guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
That's
pretty
it.
much it.
That's-
I feel like, you know, if we did a panel count,
oh,
Youngblood number 4, 23
Yeah.
pages versus the preview of Pitt with 9 pages, bet you Pitt still comes out with more panels.
oh, yeah, for sure. And I told you about you remember we were going through Wildcats, and I was like, this issue is like 2.8 panels per page.
Yeah.
Oh no, was that Cyberforce? Was that I don't want to miss, but there was one of the reviews we were doing where it's like the panel count's so small, that's why we're not advancing much here.
Yeah.
And this one for sure, because you open with 4 panels on the first page, but then you get back-to-back double page spreads where you really, one of them I'm fine with, but then that second one where they jump out, you really, all this real estate could have been storytelling. You just don't need a 2-page spread for that sequence.
I think 2-page spreads, again, always work best in context where there's a build up to it with many panels on pages and stuff. And then you get the double page spread, and then you go back to multiple panels. If you're going to do 2 double page spreads in a row, there better be a really good reason for it, right? Because once you throw in that second double page splash, what it does is it just takes away from the impact of the previous double page splash, right? Unless, like I said, there's a good reason for it. If there isn't, it just makes the first double page splash have less impact and be less meaningful.
Yeah, because we just saw Jim Lee effectively do it in Wildcats 3, where he had the double page splash that was the setup to show you the characters coming in and the characters over here reacting and the big guy in the middle. And then the next double page splash was the big punch, knocking back several people in motion, shooting, guys jumping, and it worked really well.
Yeah.
He did a great job with it, and Rob did not.
Not so much. Yeah, for sure.
No, it is extremely low panel count. I mean, it's 3 panels, 4 panels, 3 panels, 4 panels, 2 panels, running through them, 2 panels, 4 panels, a splash page, 3 panels, 3 panels, 3 panels.
We're not going to get any higher than 4, I don't think.
Yeah, you're 4, 4, 4, 4, 3, and double page splash again. It's ineffective.
Well, double page splashes.
Yeah, if he had averaged the 5 panels per page that you're supposed to, Youngblood 4 should have closed it out. Great. Miniseries is over. It's frustrating. It's so bad.
Listen, I remember as a kid, this is kind of the beginning of me seeing some of the cracks in the Image line of books. And like I said, this led me to be a little bit more picky and choosy about what I was buying and dropping some titles, because really realizing, I love Image. And, in the first year of Image, it was probably cool to buy everything and everything was really cool and exciting. But now that we're kind of in the second year and we're getting secondary artists and secondary books, and even the main guys are doing some shittier work, I started to get a little bit more selective about what I was buying. Yeah. And again, those deadline issues where, previews are coming out after the first issue and this and that always seem to somehow revolve around Rob Liefeld, right? There's this issue here. There's the one you mentioned. I mentioned the Max, right? Yeah. Darker Image. Rob Liefeld was involved in that, and I feel like he was probably the last to bring in his Blood Wolf story. And then there's, what was the other one? Brigade that you mentioned, right? So it's like, what's the common thread there? It's Rob Liefeld and Extreme Studios, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, all the
books
had delays, but Rob is definitely
the worst offender. Yeah.
Right.
Even with the what we're looking at now, the Valiant crossover, I think was I actually think maybe Jim Lee's the Homage Studio book was the last. I don't know, either Jim Lee's or Rob's was the last one to come out. And by that point, Valiant was taking care of the prologue and the epilogue book, right? Yeah. And those both came out before Deathmate Red and Deathmate Black. So,
well, it definitely seems like Valiant was doing probably the writing for the prologue, epilogue. They split the art.
That's it. Yeah, they were producing it themselves. Yeah. There was some Image artwork involved. Yeah. Jim Lee was drawing one. He was inked by Bob Layton. Yeah, and then but I know, pretty sure the epilogue was all Valiant. I know Joe Quesada, I think, drew.
No, Mark Silvestri was drawing on the epilogue, so he does half of
Okay.
it. So it's very good on
Okay.
it. Jim Lee
Okay.
drew in the prologue, and also Rob Liefeld drew in the prologue. So there was a lot of good art initially out the gates, and people moving, and it was Jim's book was a bit late, and Rob's book was wildly late, and it didn't come out within a couple months like it was supposed to.
Yeah, I think they both came out after the epilogue.
Yeah, which is a real shame. Well, especially considering what a weak what if kind of series Death
it
made.
turned out to be.
Yeah, it was such a nothing burger of a story of people crossing over to next to no effect. They didn't really have a lot of interesting things to explore.
Well, because they specifically did it in a way where there would be no actual repercussions on regular Image or Valiant continuity. So it's like, well, why am I reading them?
Yeah,
This, like you said, what if you're into what if tales, okay. But really, you know, the most interesting aspect of that crossover to me was just the slightly different kind of designs of the Image characters, right? Once the worlds merged.
sure.
I mean, that was the most kind of fun aspect, and it's not like, you know, that could hold my attention and interest in the books, right? I bought them, but they were very disappointing. Very disappointing.
Deathmate could have been fun if Valiant had handled 100% of the writing and let Image do 100% of the art.
That's what they should have done.
Yeah.
100%.
And just imagine, like, okay, we're going to do our most extreme Eternal Warrior story. We're going to write some crazy stuff with Eternal Warrior, but now we're going to have an Image guy drawing it and see how wild it can get. Yeah, let's do some wild stuff with Solar Man of the Atom.
And that would have been a good time to do it too, because at that point, Jim Shooter's gone from Valiant, so there's not really that editorial edict about the storytelling that you got to follow, right? So you can let the Image guys just go nuts. Yeah, I feel like, you know, that Jim Lee and Rob probably had a lot of enthusiasm at the beginning, right? Like a lot of these books, Rob's maybe more even of a worse offender than Jim Lee on this kind of stuff, but they have a lot of enthusiasm at the beginning. So, you know, the prologue stuff looked really fun, really cool, and then it gets to be a slog for them to finish the book. So that's where they're like, all right, I'll just do a few pages, and then I'll get the secondary guys to finish it up. And then you lack that artistic consistency throughout the book. So, you know, what makes Image interesting gets diluted a bit by kind of the secondary studio artists, who a lot of them eventually become really solid artists. But at that point, we're still kind of starting out and didn't quite have the same panache, I guess I'll say, as the original founders of the studios, Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, there you go. That, I think, should do it for a review of Youngblood #4. Again, my first real Image disappointment. I guess Mark's probably feeling kind of the same way on that.
I mean, there were disappointments along the way, but as we're reviewing them, you know, like Cyberforce #3 was a disappointment.
Yeah.
It's like we're waiting for the series to build to something, and then instead it's just so much like, well, okay, what is the story going on here? I'm having to work so hard to figure it out. And then this one, it's like, I know what's going on here. Nothing's going on.
Nothing. Yeah, exactly. Whole lot of repeating and explaining things that we already know, right? Yeah. What was I going to say about this? This I realized too is back in the day when I was collecting comics, more kind of religiously, I guess, as a kid. This was my last issue of Youngblood. I bought Youngblood Strike File. I was really into it. Then Rob took a little break and he came back with Youngblood. Okay, because Youngblood #5 I got as well, but I don't really consider it a Youngblood issue because it's drawn by someone else. It's the flip book to Brigade #4. And then when Rob came back with touted as his new style and coming back to Youngblood, I was already out. I wasn't even interested in getting it. I was kind of, you know, fool me once kind of thing. Shame on me, but you're not going to fool me again on this. So I kind of dropped out.
The only other thing I'd say about this is this shouldn't have been the back cover, A, because of obviously the parallels with the front cover, but also that he should have stuck with having the cover for whatever the preview was. Like he had the introduction of Shadowhawk on issue 2, right? And then in issue 3, there was a different introduction.
Supreme.
Oh, right, Supreme. So then again, give us that.
Yeah, I agree. You know, issue 2 had a Shadowhawk drawing by Rob, the only one we got at that point, at least. He did this issue later, kind of in a Frank Miller kind of style, but it's not that great. It looks kind of weird. Shadowhawk's really bulky. It's
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
odd.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
which one I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Just
Shadowhawk Zero. Yeah.
really looks like he dashed it out real quick.
Mhm.
Supreme on the cover of number 3, again drawn by Rob, which was fun to see because we didn't get a lot of Supreme drawn by Rob.
Right.
And then to have gotten, you know, Pitt drawn by Rob, I would have been interested in seeing that because I don't know if Rob ever drew Pitt. I can't remember seeing a Pitt illustration by
Mhm.
Rob Liefeld. I'd be curious to see it, you know. But I guess by this point, as we can tell, like Rob was kind of spreading himself thin, right?
Yeah.
Didn't put that much work into this issue. Soon he's not going to be drawn for a long while until Youngblood gets somewhat rebooted with issue 6, like a year and a half later. So he did kind of take a break from art to, I guess, focus more on the company, the editorial side of things. That's where Extreme Studios really exploded with all these secondary titles and stuff. So he was really, I guess, focusing more on being the studio head than the artist, right? And that's where it started to get away from him a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, that's going to do it for today. I think so. We've covered this one pretty exhaustively.
Yeah.
All right, well, guys, that, as I said, is it for today. Thank you guys for watching. If you are subscribed to the channel, I really do appreciate the loyalty and all the support. Thank you so much. If you're watching but you're not subscribed, please do so below. It only takes a quick second, and it really helps the channel out, helps us grow, helps get us out there to other people who are into comic books, just like we are. Speaking of comic books, both Mark and I make our own. You can check out Mark's stuff. He's got Guano Guy. He's got Darkest Image. He's got Kayfabe, The Death of a Super.
Yeah.
You can check all his stuff out at Big Cartel. And if you're interested in my books, I've got Big Baby, 13 issues of that. I've got my STARCRASHER one-shot, kind of a sci-fi, surrealist cosmic epic. And that stuff is available on my site, KINGCOMICS.CA. So that's going to do it for today. Mark, thanks again for joining me. Really appreciate it. It's always fun to do this kind of thing. And everyone out there, you know, thanks for your support. Once again, thanks for watching, and have yourselves an awesome day once again.
Yeah. See ya.
King Comics presents Big Baby, Volume 1, Issues 1 to 13, 204 pages of story and art. King Comics also presents STARCRASHER one-shot, 32 pages, cosmic sci-fi surrealist adventure. You can find these fine comics at KingComics.CA, at MaximusRex13 on Instagram, or on Facebook, MaxRex or Big Baby.
Like! Subscribe!